And we should be live right now. Can you guys check and let me know if you're running?
Yeah.
Okay, we should be live. We're all live right now. Okay, so everybody can see. All right, let's give this another go. I'm not gonna. Oh, jeez, I feel like such a moron doing the same intro. I'm not gonna do that again. All right.
We might need it.
Yeah, yeah, maybe we need it. Okay. All right, guys.
Dad, you're just like a cute little puppy or something.
All right, guys. So welcome to the 24-Hour Marketing Mastermind, and we're so sorry about this. This is the second time it's happened. I don't know what's happening with Google, but they just seem to be giving us problems all the time. But with that being said, I've learned my lesson. I'm only going to go put in the embed code a few minutes before we start. That way, I don't think I'll have this problem again because I think something happens. But for those of you who weren't there, we had a great time, and if you were at the live stream, could you please just say if you were or not? Just let us know. I know that Jamie was. I know that Nurse Brenda was. Just let us know. And as I did before, I just want to welcome, Katie and Chris on the panel. Katie and Chris, can you just say hello?
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
All right. So we have Katie on stage right over there, and then we have Pops, the Wisdom Keeper, who he is going to be known from now on as that, because he's so full of wisdom. And I know I had a great time because we were actually on a streaming hangout. Well, not streaming. We were on a hangout together watching. So I was actually watching the live stream with Katie and with Pops. We had a great time because we were able to mastermind while we were watching it. And we just had a tremendous time. On this particular hangout, we learned so much stuff, and one of them was resetting your attention, which is something that really does work. So if you don't know what that is, that's really kind of if you just want to do something, or if you need your energy reset or your concentration. One of the tricks that you can do, believe it or not, we did this, and everybody did this in the actual event, is to go ahead and shake yourself up like a dog when he's wet. You just kind of do this all over the place, and what it does is it resets your energy, your focus, and the other thing you can do is you can actually sit yourself straight up and lift your head up to the sky like this, put your arms out, and what it does is it actually changes your whole mood and the way that you think. So if you're in a depressed state, or if you're in any sort of mindset that's negative, you can actually do that. Do the shake, put your head up straight, even turn it to the left, turn it to the right, put your arms up, or go into any sort of pose. What you do is you're resetting your focus and you're taking yourself out of that negative state, which is very interesting because we were watching people inside of this event where William Wood, who's David Wood's brother, would come up and he would bring these people up and get them to think about the situation in their life that was quite depressing and get them into that depressive state. And you could really see it, especially with Desmond Soon, because Desmond Soon's had a really rough past, and you can just imagine what this guy's thinking. And as he is getting into this state, you can see in his eyes and in his facial expressions how depressed he's feeling. And then all William Wood did is he told him to do a couple of gestures, and lifting himself up straight, putting himself into kind of like a superhero pose, putting your head up and your arms out straight, and you could actually see the negativity drain from his face. And that's something that you can implement in your business. And I know that it's really, really effective. And I've been doing it all day. It's quite amazing how this actually works. Now, what I want to do is I actually want to go through the panel, and I want to ask Katie and Pop some questions about their experience about the live stream. And let's start with you, Katie, ladies first. And I'm going to ask
All
you some
right.
questions. And so I suppose the one that I would ask you, or suppose anybody would ask, is what is it that you took away from this actual live stream? What were the things that stood out for you on this live stream?
Well, for those of you who did make it, congratulations, and I think it was super important that you did. Even if you have, if you had work and then you had live stream afterwards, kudos to you, because not only did you work your full-time job, but you also went on the live stream. That shows awesome dedication. So kudos to you. And I know that I think Jennifer was at her job, and I believe Brenda was too. And I don't know if Terry does, but for sure we're contacting back and forth, and Michelle Sorensen too. But anyways, they got to experience the same thing we did, where we got to be a part of a mastermind, where we actually got to, in the comments, throw out ideas on how to make Empower Network better. And it's super powerful, because where do you find that ever, where you get an owner of a company who's made 185 million in commissions for the for products sold, and 150 million in commissions or something like that, and we're ready to move on to the next 100 million. So what's so cool, you'll never find that, I don't think, anywhere else, where you get the owner of a company who wants to hear from everybody. Doesn't matter if you made a commission or not, doesn't matter if you're a 6-figure earner or a 7-figure earner, we're all the same. It doesn't matter, even if the janitor just like walked by and said, hey, why don't you try this, and be like, awesome, you know, or something, because he'll hear from everybody. So even if it's a wild idea. So I think it was an amazing experience to be a part of that, and be part of the growth that's going to happen, major. So that was my takeaway.
You know, one of the things that stood out for me in that whole thing was David Wood's transparency. It's one of the biggest things that I took away. I never actually realized how transparent, because, you know, I've heard stuff from people, you know, through the grapevine. And the thing that really, I mean, just as a proof, you could say, because one of the things that I noticed, and we noticed about David Wood, is how good he is at, and how knowledgeable he is of the actual process about, for instance, making sales videos. It was phenomenal. I mean, this guy, you know, we got to witness David Wood making a sales video from scratch. And if you know anything about the products that are inside of Top Producer, Team Builder, Mass Influence, all of that stuff, there are processes that you go through whenever you make a video. So, you know, you've got your introduction, and you've got your credibility, and there's like 12 steps. And he's going through each of these steps, and he's getting feedback from everybody. And then, to top it all off, most people, when they make a video, they make this video and they do like 400 or 500 takes just to get through the introduction. And we got to witness firsthand how David Wood just went to go through this whole process without making a mistake with one take. And it just showed you that, you know, what he says is true. And when he was being transparent about the company, it was just incredible about, you know, the hardships they've gone through. But you know, we can talk about that a bit later. But I don't want to take up too much of this. I'm going to ask Pops what his takeaway was through this whole event. What was your takeaway, Pops?
I actually have a renewed deep respect for Dave Wood because of his transparency, like you said, Dave, and the fact that he is going to, well, actually he is resetting Empower Network back to the basics of the beginning, where it was actually a more powerful platform back then. And through some of the transitions that we traveled through in the last 3 years, it kind of fell off a little bit, because it actually got more complicated, because they thought, you know, more gizmos and gadgets would work better for people, when in actuality it made it harder, especially for people that were not very technically adept at stuff like that. And it did take a lot. Now the trainings are more concise, and again, yeah, it was just a phenomenal. It was probably, of the how many 11 events I've been to, the best, even though I couldn't go, which would have really been powerful. But it was the best I have witnessed ever. It was just fantastic. And the Will Wood, some of the transformations I saw him create in people, and actually some of them were by design, because he would actually take somebody and make them go into a negative state, or not make them, but they were willing to go into a negative state. And you can just see him melt from a smile into like deep, deep, deep despair, depression, thinking about some of that, and then he would bring them out of it, and then um, embed the new feeling in their mind and their subconscious so that they could use that tool to carry on. And the whole thing was just so fantastic. It was just blown away by it. And I think, Dave, you got into some of that transformational stuff, even though you didn't do much but blue. But you were kind of, you kind of had a few words about it when we were sitting there.
Yeah. I know. It's kind of, I mean, it's all stuff that well, especially for me, because, as a guy, I suppose, not being a touchy-feely person, because all of that stuff, you got to be in touch with your feelings and all of that. It's kind of weird for me to actually see that playing out, but it really is important, Having the right mindset in your business is so important, not because of I suppose myself, but also being aware of other people's feelings and where they're coming from. And that's one of the things I appreciate about Empower Network, is their constant willingness to help other people. It was tremendous to see how there was a genuine concern, and you can. I mean, I've been doing Empower Network for almost 3 years now. And the one thing I've learned about people, the one thing I've learned about, for instance, people that are not honest, don't have integrity, is you cannot go through that much amount of time, and if you're not somebody who's being honest, you have to really lie a lot, and you have to have a great memory. But the great thing about David Wood is that he is prepared to say things about what he did. Now, all of you who were there know what he said. He said some really outrageous things, and some things that you would never expect an owner of a company to say, especially in the lines of the hardships that they went through. With Empower Network, nearly going bankrupt, and to a point where they were very, very low, and he would just tell everybody everything. And that was incredible. I mean, there was some stuff in there. You saw it. David Wood broke down. It was kind of like, he was in tears. And I've never, ever seen David Wood do that, ever. I mean, it was, and you saw what happened there. You saw how, people stood up, and they said, why should you be sorry? And everybody stood up and they clapped, and it wasn't rehearsed or anything. That was uncut, sheer gratitude for what he's done. Because he really, and I feel like that if I ever met David Wood personally, that he would just welcome me, because he has been like that. He's somebody that will reach out to anybody, and he has reached out to me. He sent me personal messages. He's not somebody that's up in the sky and away from everybody. He really wants people to succeed. But I think one of the best things that he does is that he gives you medicine that's hard to swallow, stuff that it's hard to hear. And if you love people and care for them, you're going to give them tough love. You're going to give them the stuff that they need to hear. And that was really, really incredible for me. I mean, one of the, as I said, the biggest takeaway for me out of that whole session was how much I know that company cares for the people that they're in. If you're not inside of Empower Network yet, and you've been brought in by somebody to go and see this page or this Hangout, all I can say is you want to go ahead and click that button on the right and get into this company, because we've got such a great community of people that want to help each other. And we had somebody like a day or two ago where somebody had joined, and Pat had called me up and said, "Hey Dave, can you get on this Hangout, because there's somebody that's joined that's not really sure if she can do this because she lives in a third world country." And I live in a third world country, so I could relate And so I went on the call and I helped her out, but she wasn't in my team. She wasn't in Pat's team. Oh, she hadn't even joined yet. And we were talking to her as a collective group by somebody who had brought her in and introduced her to the system, but they hadn't joined yet. And Pat, myself, and Tandy were talking to this person, and as a result, she joined. Because, you know, we're here to help people, and that's what this really is all about. And you cannot lie for 3 years straight. I mean, you've got to have the best memory in the world to actually do that. And so it's really important that you know. And one of the things they rolled out in this particular this weekend is that Empower Network now has a value system where they have 10 core values, which Katie is showing you, which you can see here. And these, let me just show you them right now. But actually, I'll just go through them one at a time so you can know what they are. If you're in this business, it's very important to hear this, because this is what Empower Network is really about and what they stand for. And the first one is service to others. They're committed to serving other people. All right, that is what this company is about, and that's what we came away from this particular live stream event. It's definitely a theme that you saw. The second core value is they want to be open and honest and have constructive communication. So they want people to, whenever they come up with an idea, they want people to come up with constructive communication, where you're not just shooting something down, but you actually have viable ideas where you can share with other people. The other thing, the third core value is conscientious generosity. All right, so they're very aware about the fact that they want to give to other people, and not because they're just giving because they feel like they're pressured to, or feel like they're forced to in any way, or feeling guilty. They want people to give because they know it's in the best interest of others to help them, and that's really what it is about. It's not just about, it's not about giving people money, although I'm sure money has a part to play in it. You know, obviously, the more successful you become in your business, you've got to give to your community, and David Wood brought that up. It's one of the things that he likes to do, is to help people who are less fortunate than themselves, and it's certainly part of the culture inside of Empower Network. But we've got to be willing to help people and give people help when they need it. The fourth core value is leadership. So having a strong leadership that's going to help people when they need it, all right? And as a leader, you shouldn't be telling people to do something if you're not prepared to do it yourself. All right, as a leader, you have to be honest, and as a leader, you've got to be somebody who's going through that. One of the things they did inside of this event is they broke boards. All right, they broke boards together as a breakthrough, and then they walked through fire. All right, and who was the first person that walked through fire? It was David Wood. All right, they actually walked through fire on coals, and I mean, this wasn't pretend. These were hot coals, and you could see sparks flying off and everything, and they walked right through the fire. It was quite incredible to see. So if you're going to be a leader, you need to be an example to others and not lie to people about what you've done. Don't say to people you've made thousands of dollars if you haven't. Don't say you've made thousands of leads if you haven't. Don't pretend to be something you're not. If you're not being a success in the company in a big way, don't lie to people about that, because it's going to bite you in the end, because when people find out, that is going to be the hardest thing to shake. So you want to be a leader. And the other thing they have, the fifth core value is commitment. All right? So they are committed to doing things. If they say they're going to do it, they're going to do it, and they're going to deliver. That is something that this company wants to do. They don't want to lie to people, and they want to be honest about it. So that's the fifth core value. And then, of course, which is probably one of the most important, the sixth core value is informed creative change. And this is something that David Wood spoke about when they launched ENV2. Now, if you don't know what ENV2 is the blog beast. And when that came out, they had a new blogging platform that, in my opinion, when I saw it firsthand, I didn't like it because it was very limited, and there were a lot of problems with that particular platform. And a few weeks later, after the launch, David Wood got onto a Hangout and actually apologized to everybody for what had happened, which is another reason why I'm sticking to this company. You know, I'm planting my flag, as Jack Jover says. It's really a good quality that he has. He's trying to be honest, and he told everybody it was a mistake. And so one of the things they're doing now is that with every change that they're going to do, they're going to be testing things out first before they roll it out. So if they come up with a new set of training videos, they're not going to delete all the others and put it there. They're going to test it and see how it works and then implement it, which is really great news for us. So we're not going to be given any sort of surprise without knowing that it does work. So one of the techies came on and gave a huge speech about how they are testing just about absolutely everything, whether it be buttons, capture pages, sales pages, the video, the way it looks. Everything is tested before it is actually given to us as a community. All right. The seventh core commitment they have is being efficiency through simplicity. Now, Pop spoke about this briefly, and that is that they're going back to the basics about what they did when they first got started. Because Empower Network, when they first got started, had a very simple process, and that was going through the 8 core commitments. And the 8 core commitments tells you everything you need to know about the business. But the problem is, we have so many people putting in new ideas that they try to make it simpler by giving people more training, by giving people steps to go through. And it just complicated the whole process. And the truth is that ultimately it comes down to you as a business owner to figure this out. So the other day I was helping Pat with something, and Pat, before he got started with Empower Network or anything, he wasn't computer savvy at all. But I was helping him out with a page that he had trouble with, and he was working with some code. And while I was talking to Pat, he was actually putting in code that he had learned over the months that he had been working, because he had decided to invest time to learn a certain part of the business. And the thing is, when you get started in your business, we've got to rely on ourselves to push ourselves forward. Because now, how many times that you can get somebody to tell you how to do something, if you don't figure it out for yourself, it's not going to stick. And it's not going to stick very well. We can't be drones learning about, you know, when everybody tells us to do A, B, and C. If you learn it for yourself, you'll never forget it. You know, when I started doing Hangouts for myself, nobody taught me how to do it. I had to figure it out all by myself. And you can ask Jake Jervis. I know that Jake had to figure it out all by himself. What did he do? He went to YouTube, he read it up on Google, and he figured it out. And so what Empower Network is doing is they're going through the basics again, going back to the 8 core commitments, you know, being a product of the product, you know, going through the products, learning everything. All right, that's important. So when you get inside of Empower Network and we give you products like the Inner Circle, like Top Producer Formula and Team Building Formula, all of that stuff, you'll actually go through those products and you will learn how to do the things you need to do. All right? All right, so that's efficiency through simplicity. And then the 8th core value is humility. All right, so there needs to be a humility inside of the company. Nobody's going to follow somebody who thinks they're better than anybody else. And that is something we have to learn. And, you know, the sad thing is a lot of people think they're humble. I've actually seen this. Have you ever seen people when they say stuff like this? All right? In my humble opinion, okay? I mean, it's not, I mean, I know that it's said as a saying, but I've actually seen people saying it to a whole group of people in an audience and saying, in my humble opinion, and it's just like, why are you saying that? All right? You know, humility is something where you've got to actually learn that you're coming from a place where you need to learn everything. You're never going to grow in this business if you think you know everything. And if there's one thing I've learned amongst people who are making huge amounts of money on the internet is they're always willing to learn. Lawrence Tam is one of the few guys that goes to so many events because he wants to learn. And I've spoken to Lawrence, and he's a very humble person, all right? He doesn't expect to know everything. If you know something about a subject, if I went to Lawrence and said, I've got some strategies about YouTube, he'll make me feel comfortable about the fact that I've actually got something to teach him. And that is humility, all right? Not being aware of how great you are is to actually put yourself a bit lower than everybody else. Because actually servants are leaders, ultimately. If you're willing to serve, if you're willing to be somebody who is willing to help somebody else, and you help a lot of people are going to be looking to you for leadership. It's one of those big paradoxes that are out there. All right, if you learn to serve a lot of people will see you as a leader. That's just the truth. And then, of course, the ninth core value is a community, fun, and family feeling. All right, so inside of Empower Network, they want people to feel welcome. They want people to feel like they're part of a family, and that's really what this is. A lot of my dear valued friends, I'm part of Empower Network. I honestly consider them part of my. It's almost like a second family that I have, because I can really turn to people for help when I need it. And one of the things I really appreciate about Pops and Katie, because they are effectively my accountability partners, is that they help me, you know, whenever I'm feeling down or I'm not feeling in such a great mood, and I'm willing to help them. All right, and if you're not part of that group, networking with other people, quite simply, you're going to end up with failure. So if you don't have somebody who you can turn to, you'll find somebody. You'll work with somebody, and you'll find somebody. Over the years, I've worked with a lot of people, and it's great how you build these connections over time. So that's another core value. And one of the things is we travel together, we party together, we stay healthy together, and we spend time together like a family. And then, of course, the 10th core value is a celebration of achievement, never quitting. And that is really important. And it just reminds me right now, I just want to congratulate Nurse Brenda on getting her first, or in the process of getting her first sale, because I know that she's very excited about this, and she's really committed to what she's doing, and she's making huge achievements in her business by taking a small step at a time. And that's really what this is about. It's about doing things in small steps. So we've got to celebrate people's achievements. Now, this is something I want to kind of like a thing that I want to teach you right now. If you really want to go forward in your business, the best thing that you can do is to celebrate other people's achievements. And not so much celebrate your own achievements, although that's okay, but when you start having a lot of success and you're in kind of like a team, try and take the focus off yourself and start to celebrate the achievements of people in your team. You know, I make a lot of sales over a period of time, and you know, if I keep saying that all the time, what is that going to do to my team? I don't want people to think that I'm just trying to outdo them all the time. But if I see somebody in my team that's achieved something great, it's my responsibility to edify, as Katie Stage always tells me. You've got to edify people around you. And so if you see somebody doing something great, post their achievement on your wall. Let other people know that somebody else is doing great, because I promise you, that is the way you're going to move forward. And this really is all based on Zig Ziglar when he says the only way that you're going to succeed is by getting other people to help them to succeed. So, you know, these 10 core values is what Empower Network is based upon. But it's really a good attitude to have for yourself. And so if you can make these 10 core values part of yourself, it's really something that you should take on board. And maybe, Katie, what you can do, in fact, I'll send Katie the link right now, is post these core values up so people can take them and look at them. Katie, I'm just sending this to you on Facebook. I'll put that in the group for us.
Okay, and while you're doing that real quick, I want to kind of share something, a post that I have. Somebody I'm following, I don't know if anybody knows who Landon Stewart is. I met him back in Denver back in 2013, and he's come a long way. And he had an amazing post that I would like to share, just a little blip of what he said, and I think it's like absolutely important to say at this moment because it's all about not quitting, okay? And I think
Yeah.
this could cure a lot of deal hopping and moving around and not finding the success that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and read part of his post here. He says, the biggest myth in internet business and network marketing specifically is that it takes a long time to build up an income. And company owners might tell you it takes 3 to 5 years, not because it's true, but because they want you to stay that long. The truth is, it's because it may take you 3 to 5 years to develop the skills to learn how to sell, to write company copies, to lead teams, and etc. But once you acquire those skills, the income comes fast every time. And he could not be more further from the truth, because I want everybody right now in the comments, the stuff that you've learned so far in Empower Network, especially if you're all in. I want to celebrate all the all-in people. You know, Andrea, I know she's all in. I don't know who else is all in, but I think Jamie's all in. But this stuff that you learned in the all-in package is almost like it's like everything you need to learn, pretty much. So I just wanted to point that out.
That's very true. It's it really is about that. I mean, the 3 to 5 years they want to be part. They want you to be part of the company so you can learn the skills. And really, if you have a look at companies out there, even like Google, the company Google, if you walk into the offices, they really make you feel like part of a family because they just want you to have fun. And ultimately, people, and this is so important with your business, that when people join, you've got to make them feel like they're welcome. There's no point getting somebody in your business and you've got maybe one sale in your entire week or month of being in Empower Network, and you bring somebody in and then they can't even reach you. There's no point in that. The point is that people stay in this business because they treat it like family. They're treated like they're important. If you don't encourage people, why should they stay? I mean, look at Katie. Katie, I mean, honestly, are you in because of the money?
I actually have never been in it for the money. I mean, money will buy you the things that you would want to have, like more time freedom, and all that stuff. But every time someone did a snapshot of like their back office of like their income, it never turned me on that way. I'm about the lifestyle and the travel. So the time freedom.
And I mean,
it's different for everybody.
Yeah, it's weird because I'll tell you a story. With me, okay, when I got started, the thing that really attracted me to this business was the way that my sponsor made me feel about who I am. The belief in me that I can actually achieve something. And the thing is, I'd never experienced that ever before. And I suppose in the 8 months of me being in this business without having a single sale, in that 8 months, all he did was encourage me and make me feel like I could achieve it. And ultimately, I would achieve it if I just kept on going, and I did keep on going. But if you want people to stay in your business, and you want them to be magnetized to staying in, there's a couple of things you can do. And the first thing you want to do is you want to perhaps set up some sort of meet that you can have with them. Maybe on Skype, maybe on a Hangout, maybe through a chat on Facebook, but just so you can stay connected with them. Because when a person gets to know you and you get to know them, there is a sense of commitment that you develop, all right? And then, of course, when you encourage people to get the inner circle really is something that teaches them the right things about mindset and about family, and about commitment and about being in this business. And, speak the world into existence and listening to that for 60 days. Because that is the thing that's going to keep you in this business and what's going to keep team members in this business. Ironically enough, it's not the strategies, it's not the training, it's the community and 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 people feeling welcome in this business. And then if you do that, because when you start making people welcome and start making and encouraging other people, that's when people say, you know what, I really want to be in this and I want to be committed to this for the rest of my life because I'm involved with people that really do care about me. You know what, guys? People know when you're putting it on. They know when you're faking it. They know when you're just trying to get them in for a sale. You know, there's nothing worse than getting somebody in. They get all in, and then you don't help them, or you just don't listen to what they're saying. This whole thing is to help people, encourage them. I'm learning, other people are learning, and that is why we want to succeed. And that is why, for instance, I'm now going through the whole of Empower Network right through again. I'm starting the process again because I'm learning how to grow as a person. I'm learning how to communicate with others. And I just love this community. I love the fact that we can message each other, encourage each other. And Katie's been a great encouragement to me because whenever I make a post, she always comments on it. She'll always respond with some quirky comment. And that really has a sense of, wow, you know, it's like, okay, what I did was really cool. Thank you so much, Katie. And that's what you
come on,
guys
Dave.
do.
You're like, oh my gosh, the Katie Stage just commented.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, and so, yeah, I don't know. Pops, maybe you got something else you want to say?
Yeah, it's part of the culture too. It's not just about whether you're going to make money or not, or whether you're going to get sign-ups or not, but we have a great culture in Empower Network, and actually Dave Wood set the stage for that too with the 8 core commitments, and you know, it's mentoring the new sign-ups and get involved with them and find out what they're about so you can better serve them and maybe direct them into some of the products that will help them learn how to be able to build their business. And it's important to go through the products. I made that mistake when I first started. You know, I had you know, like Dave Wood says, yeah, you're going to be a rock star and just go do what you're going to do instead of listening to what I tell you. And yeah, I was one of those guys to start out with, and it took me longer then to get off the ground because of that. So finally going through the products and getting more products, and it was just, actually that's what got me in. Unlike most of you where how you got in, I saw a live stream from, I think it was either Dave Sharp's house, I believe it was Dave Sharp's house, where a bunch of the leaders were all together, and they were, you know, they don't party, you know, but they were partying, having a good time, and it was more about that camaraderie that I saw that drew me into it more than the money, the potential money, because I had been in other network marketing things before, and they all talk about money, and some more than others. If they particularly hype the big money, you got to take a better look at them. But it's the community that I found with Empower Network that is important to me, and especially at the last event, if you watched a lot of the emotional stuff that went on and the camaraderie that they had, and edifying. Dave Wood would be talking about something and going through setting up a new video with everybody and getting suggestions from everybody, and somebody'd yell out, "I got a sale!" Everything would stop, and everybody would be clapping and yelling and jumping up and down, and they'd come up and congratulate them. And one couple that were from South America somewhere, I don't recall where from, they just turned gold. And they came up, and they were up there for quite a bit talking about their dreams and how they're building their business and by helping other people build their business. And that was a very emotional thing. It was amazing. And Dave, you mentioned Dave Wood crying at that one point in time, or tearing up, or Katie did, and you're right, you don't see him do that very much. Because he's such a kind-hearted guy, I guess he's used to seeing all that stuff, but it was amazing how that happened, and you don't see that very much in leaders either. So
and not only that, Pops, not only that, but there was actually a few people who actually came up and shared some of their breakthroughs, and these guys, you don't think you've ever seen them cry, and they did. And Mars, when he broke down, it took a lot to hold it back. Because I don't like anybody seeing me cry, because I'm just a, I don't know, tough cookie like that.
Yeah, I know. It's quite. I mean, there've been times when I've been close to being emotional. I don't cry that often. But you know, just like Teddy, when I do, it's by myself. Nobody sees me. Um, but ultimately, we want you to know that if you're watching this right now, and even if we don't know who you are, we want you to know that we do care about you. Even people that have resentment towards me, for some reason or other, I still care about them, right? Because ultimately I know that everybody goes through something. Everybody goes through something that's been mixed up in their life and they're angry. And very often, in fact, 99% of the time, when somebody is upset with you, it's because of something that is blocking them from reaching out. Okay, 99% of the time it isn't about you, it's about them. Because have you ever noticed that sometimes there are some people out there who just never get mad about anything, no matter what you do to them? Ultimately, it's because that other person that doesn't get mad has matured to a state when they know that it's not about them. And you as a person, you've got to realize that nobody really has anything against you. You've got to work through your own personal stuff. And I want you to know that even if I haven't met you, I don't know you, I do care about you, and so does Katie, and so does Pops, and we want you to succeed. All right, because ultimately, I mean, I've told this before, but when I was in church a few years ago, I went up to somebody and I said, what is it? I just said, hi, what's your name? I can't remember what his name was, but I said, so what do you do for a living? And he said, I'm desolate. He had no place to go. He was sleeping on the street. And I just stood there and I felt like I wanted to give this guy somebody. I wanted to give him something. And the truth is I couldn't. I had nothing to give. I had nothing because even back then, a few years ago, I mean, I wasn't earning anything. So I had no way of helping somebody else. But now that I have a method of helping other people, I want to do this. I haven't told Katie Stage, or not Katie Stage, sorry, I keep saying the full name, Katie or Pops, but one of the things that I would love to do is to go into a store and to pay for somebody else's groceries. I would love to be able to do that. And just go up to somebody who's there and you can see they've got a family and you just want to pay for somebody else's groceries. You want to help. And this is the key. This is something that I've learned. I learned this from David Wood. If you practice being generous to other people, and what I mean by practice, I don't mean practice in the sense of, doing something out of resentment, but doing something that forces you to be kind. And now this is what I mean. If you give somebody money, if you give somebody food, or if you give somebody help of any kind, there is no way in that particular moment when you're giving somebody some sort of help that you can feel ungrateful. You always feel thankful. And the thing about doing it constantly is it becomes a habit. And when you can feel grateful for your life and for the things that you have in your life, and you practice it over and over and over again, it helps you to be thankful. And when you start being thankful, that's when you start to notice a big change in your life. All right? Thankfulness, being thankful for what you have, is something that a lot of successful people have in their life. Because without being thankful, and if you just full of spite and hatred and resentment towards other people, you're not going to go very far in your life. You've either got your wealth because it's been given to you, or you've got your wealth because you won the lottery. But if you are a person that grows because you are practicing being thankful to other people, that is the thing that's really going to boost you and help you. Even if you do it for selfish reasons, the more you practice it, it's going to change you as a person. It's going to change you as an individual. So that's what I would highly encourage you guys to do, is to start thinking about other people and to stop thinking about yourself. All right? Because 90% of problems can be solved if you just take the focus off yourself. What is depression? Depression is a person thinking about their situation all the time. But you give yourself a distraction, and depression goes away. All right, just change change what you are, change your stance. Listen to something encouraging. Do the King's Speech. Katie, tell us about the King's Speech.
You know, that was actually an interesting thing to watch because basically I have a little. If anybody has Think and Grow Rich, it's in the book. You can use that little spot in Think and Grow Rich as a King's Speech because it's basically a speech of like affirmations. Okay, like saying that I am this like king or queen of a kingdom, and this is what I'm gonna do for you guys, and that kind of thing. And you just like open up, and you're just like speaking your world to existence, basically, and you're looking forward. You're seeing the light through the future. It's just, I just gotta say, I honestly think that bringing William Wood to that event was the smartest business move that David Wood ever made, because we needed to bring that culture back. So obviously I'm passionate about it because I felt like there was a disconnect for a while, but I still was. I believed in the company. I believed in David Wood and his vision, and he was just going through some tough times. So I just thought like it was so smart for him to bring him in. So.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, all you got to. I mean, ultimately practicing. Okay, if you don't know what the King's Speech is, practically it just means getting a piece of music that's like inspirational, like something from. What's it? That Viking movie, not Viking.
Is it the Phoenix or something? I could try to find it.
Ice Phoenix. Ice Phoenix
yeah.
by. Anyway, some place you buy. Now you get some music that's really inspiring, even from Gladiator, something that's just, lifting up, and then all you do is you just listen to this music at full ball, wearing earphones, and you just shout from the top of your voice, and you say stuff like, I stand here, my name is Dave Reinicke, and I just want to say to everybody out there that I believe in you. And all you're doing is you're really just voicing the way that you feel, and it puts you in a mood, puts you in a way of just of absolute wanting to help somebody else. And when you see it, and if you have a chance to even see it, you can go ahead and look for William Wood and look for his King's Speech. I've actually seen it. He's wearing earphones and he's just shouting, and it's quite remarkable to actually see it. So that was one of the things that we learned there.
Yeah, that's Ice of Phoenix by Audio Machine.
That's
Ice
right.
of Phoenix by Audio Machine. And we don't have a lot of time, so Dave, I'd like to actually give a shout out to Terry Miller, who just made Boss over the weekend. I'd like to congratulate you. And Lynn Brown, she said Lynn Brown made Boss Maker over the weekend.
Oh wow, that's incredible!
Awesome.
Well done, Terry. Well
I also
done.
want to point out that Terry just had some back issues, and she's laying down and actually listening to this. She's actually talking as she's trying to type. She can't type, so she's just an amazing, inspirational person. Seriously.
Congratulations on making Boss. That's incredible. Yeah, and as I said, Nurse Brenda, congratulations on your win as well. I know that you've been working really hard. And Jamie, how are you doing, man? Do you guys have any questions you want to ask just before we go? We've got like 2 minutes. Yeah, I guess no questions.
I'm actually looking at David Wood's timeline, and I'm thinking I can actually try to find the King's Speech on the balcony.
Yeah, it'll be under William Wood.
If that'll be helpful. Or William Wood, he probably has less videos. Jeez. Oh, do I find it? I don't know.
So yeah, guys, we just want you to know that as I said, we do want to help you, and we do want you to keep on keeping on. Don't ever give up on yourself, because it really is about keeping people together and making them feel part of the family. All right. If you think it's just about training, it's not. It really is about making a person feel welcome. If you can get somebody to join, and then you can actually connect with that person, and just even if you just try and find out something about them, and connect with them, you will find that that person will remain in your team just because of that. Because ultimately, that is how you get people to grow. And all of the training and strategies, that comes later. That comes because they want to learn. All right. That is the thing. That is the key for keeping people in your business. You know how? You know why I've got so many bosses in my team? It's because the people that make boss my team, I constantly keep in contact with. All right, that is why. They're pure and simple. I keep in contact with people in my team, and when they have any sort of breakthrough, I celebrate it. That is how you do it. That is how you develop your leadership skills, by celebrating other people's successes. So we're going to say goodbye right now, and we've got the Empower Hour streaming that's coming on right now after this. So if you want to catch that, in fact, go ahead and catch that right now. And we will see you same time next week on this Hangout. So thank you, Katie and Pops, for helping with the comments. Really do appreciate it. And if you're not inside of Empower Network right now, go ahead and click that button that you see. Go ahead and start this with a trial and get going. All right, guys, and take the word try out of your vocab. You can do this. We've all done this. We know that it works, so there's no excuses other than where we are geographically in the world. So with that being said, go Ducks.